Hello, hello. I am recording from a lovely rooftop on a mall out in Europe, somewhere in Europe. And I'm going to be responding to a question I got from Just DLEXER, Just Drexler on Instagram. And he asked me if I had PR tips for tech, if I had public relations tips for tech. So aside from what to do if you are in a kerfudgel, if you've made a little bit of a mistake and you need to get out of it with some PR, that's not what this episode is about. This episode is actually going to be about how to get press. This episode is going to be about how to get press if you have a tech product. And I'm going to be recommending some tools that I have used myself before. That's what I am talking about on episode 334 of The Edward Show. How do you get people to notice you, to notice your product? Oh, you know what? I can recommend so many tools because I really know a ton. This is something that I love and that I do myself all the time. And the cool thing is, it's not just for tech. A lot of this works outside of tech, or maybe you have a product that's related to tech, or maybe you don't, and still a lot of these might work. So I have a list of things that I'm going to share. First one is press releases. Now, people are going to tell me press releases are dumb. They don't work anymore. And that is mostly true. However, they can be utilized in interesting ways. So I use prlog.org for press releases. I think I paid $300 per release, which gives me the highest distribution with a press release. And if you do this, it will appear at the top of Google, and it'll appear there for a day. It'll get its own special section at the top of Google, your press release, and you want to put a really juicy headline, but it'll appear in more places than just the top of Google. It will appear in lots of different publications, and it will say that it came from a press release, but you know what? That's okay. A lot of people don't even see that. You get press from that, but something that I like to do is I like to time this with other announcements. So maybe I'll do an announcement on Product Hunt, or maybe I'll have a big push where I am emailing investors, and then they will Google me, they will Google my product, and then they will see me at the top of Google with this press release. They will see me in Google News with this press release because a lot of press releases are syndicated to Google News. So that's, again, I use prlog.org for this. On rare occasions, you also might get backlinks, pretty good backlinks too, from people who are scanning press releases for interesting topics. That has happened to us. When the first time I used a press release, we had a huge launch in crypto. We were the first people to make a real video game in crypto. We invented what's now called play to earn. I made all of this money, and I made this really juicy press release about it. And we got picked up in so many different places because crypto was hot. This was January 2018. And crypto was just starting to get traction. I didn't know anything about press releases, but we had this launch. It did really well. Everyone wanted to be my friend. And one of the people who wanted to be my friend was a PR specialist. And he gave me advice on press releases. He said, use prlog.org. He said, try to craft the best headline that you can. And we workshopped my headline together. I'm not going to reveal the headline, but you can, if you find my project, you can just Google my project and probably Google press release with it. And you can find some of these headlines. And it was a good headline, and it got picked up. And I timed that with messaging tons of different investors. And I would just say, hey, I'm Edward from the name of the project. They would Google the project, and then it would just be at the top of Google. And my response rate was really high. So prlog.org, most basic. Another one that I love, it's called featured.com. Featured.com is an especially amazing SEO tool, but it can be leveraged in lots of different ways. Oh, it can be leveraged in the same ways that the press release can be leveraged in. So featured.com it's kind of like, if you know Helper Reporter, which rebranded to Connectively. It's journalists who are looking for experts to quote in their articles. That's what featured.com is, except with Helper Reporter is really competitive. Featured.com is not. I have a 70% acceptance rate, maybe 75% acceptance rate on featured.com. When I respond to a journalist query, there is a 75% chance that they are going to include me in their article. The problem with featured.com, if I'm being completely honest, is that there are some sponsored posts on there from the featured.com staff who just want to get their paying members into publications, which isn't necessarily the worst thing because you will still appear in publications like Entrepreneur. And then what you can do is the same thing that you can do with any press release is you can go to your network, you can go on LinkedIn, you can go on Instagram, you can go to wherever, you can put it on your website, you can put these logos on your site, and say, we've been featured in all of these publications. And then you can leverage that to make yourself look more authoritative. And then you can get better press, better press, better press, better press, and more organic press as well, because now you look like you are truly an expert. So that is something that I love. Feature.com, prlog.org. Help a Reporter was just like that. It rebranded to Connectively. I haven't tried it yet. I don't really feel like I need it, but maybe I'll try it at some point. Feature.com is just, the hit rate is really so high for Feature.com. If you have a very sensational story, you can also try reaching out to journalists. Back in the day, I used to do lots of viral stunts. And this was actually my first stunt where I learned this. It was some driving stunt in New York. And we put it on YouTube and nobody cared. I think this was 2009. And I was still in college at the time. And one of my professors was like, try sending this out to autoblogs who might care. And so I just sent out this stunt to the top 5 biggest autoblogs. The biggest one picked it up and put us on their front page for 2 days. And then it went viral from there. We appeared on TV when appearing on TV was so cool, and in lots of other different places. So if you feel like you have something that's really cool, you can just share it with journalists, and a bunch of them might even pick it up, and then it can go viral from there. There's another product. It's from Neon Money Club, and they made a product called Score, which is a dating app for anyone who has a credit score for over 675. And this product, it's super viral just because it's so crazy. And so for a product like that, you might just have to send it to a few journalists who are in the niche, and then it goes viral just like that. So it depends. If it's a stunt, if it's a viral product, sending it out to a few journalists could be all that it takes. And then it appears in one place, and that's how the news works. Journalists are always looking for interesting stories, and they're copying each other. And then it goes viral. It catches fire. Okay, this is something super dark. This is something that I heard before. I made a video about this on, I don't mind sharing it on the podcast because I made a video about this on Instagram, and that video has 2.3 million views. On TikTok, funny enough, it only has 75,000 views. But on Instagram Reels, it has 2.3 million views. And something that people do is they will make a rumor about a product. They'll make a rumor about a product and they will put it on 4chan. And they will get lots of different accounts with different IP addresses to boost the post. But half of the time, they don't even need to do that. They just need a few posts. They could even Photoshop it. It's so crazy. So they have this juicy story that originated on 4chan, which makes it even more juicy. Something came from 4chan at this, and it sounds interesting. But then what they do is they take this, they put it onto the 4chan subreddit on Reddit, and they will buy upvotes for this. And that makes it explode if it is sensational enough. And if it doesn't, then they take that and they send it to journalists anonymously. Originated on 4chan, they found it on the 4chan subreddit. Now that it's being sent to a journalist as a hot tip. And journalists will pick it up if the story is good enough, and you can just make up crazy stories and try that. And I've seen that work before. Something embarrassing works pretty well, but you don't want to do anything that's illegal or bad, because then that's going to send negative signals to your site for SEO. So if you ever want to do SEO, Google uses sentiment analysis, and if it sees lots of negative sentiment appearing towards a product or a website, Google will be less likely to recommend that product or website. This was something that, the way that I learned this, and this was revealed in the leak, but the way that I learned this was people used to game Google by making the worst products possible, over-promising, and getting tons of negative reviews on their products. And that would get them backlinks because people would write scathing articles about how bad this product is. And then these people would get all these backlinks. That was one of the early things that people were doing to game Google. And so Google had to correct this. And how did they correct this? They started using sentiment analysis. And they said, if these links, these articles containing these links are of a negative sentiment, we will discount that or even take that into account to mean that we shouldn't recommend this product or website. So you got to be careful with spreading rumors. If it's a positive rumor, that's good. If it's maybe just something that's embarrassing, that's good too. But it's safer to stay away from the illegal and bad stuff. But that's, I think, a pretty solid list of PR tips. If it's just a launch, you want to just do a launch, use Product Hunt. Use Product Hunt to launch. I've launched so many times on Product Hunt, super successfully on Product Hunt. We launched the same day as ChatGPT. I've told this story before. We launched one of our products the same day as ChatGPT, and we were number one. We were number one for most of the day, and then over halfway through the day, ChatGPT overtook us. And at the time, it was starting and it was going slow, and people were like, "What is this?" And it just organically, people started going crazy for it. and it overtook us around 2 p.m. I was in Barcelona at the time, so it was 2 p.m. Barcelona time. Product Hunt starts, it refreshes at midnight Pacific Standard Time. It was 2 p.m. Barcelona time. But we were doing still like, we're number one, and then ChatGPT surpasses us and it just keeps on going. And I remember watching it and being like, what product is this with this like weird logo and this weird name and it's coming for us, and it's now at like 7, now it's at 5, now it's at 4. Oh my gosh, now it's at 2. Oh, now it's beating us. What is this? I need to try this. And I tried it and I'm like, oh, this is like the most revolutionary thing ever. Wow, this is crazy. And then I stayed up till 4 a.m. Even though I had waken up early to do the launch. I stayed up till 4 a.m. using ChatGPT because it was so crazy. And so we launched on the same day as ChatGPT, and we finished number 2 and ChatGPT finished number 1. But Product Hunt is great. Product Hunt is really great for launching. You can also try BetaList for launching. It's great as well. And then I guess this is super basic, but I love TikTok. I love Instagram Reels. It can be life-changing when you have a video that even gets several tens of thousands of views on one of these platforms. Early on, we made like an AI experiment. This was, I think, February of last year. We made the site called bestreasonswhy.com, and it's still live. And now it has like some moderation in it because we didn't want to get in trouble, but at the time it had no moderation. So we made the site that would give you 3 reasons to tell you to do literally anything, no matter how heinous or terrible or good the things that you wanted reasons for were. And I made 3 videos in a time span of 75 minutes for this product. Videos 1 and 3 got 2,000 views each, but video 2, I think it got like 67,000 views, and those 67,000 views converted to 3,100 users in a single day. So TikTok, Instagram Reels, they are great for generating awareness too, and you can even get backlinks through them because you can have things go viral and then people will link to you. This can also be a spark for a great story if you have it, or a great viral product if you have it. I love these platforms as well. Okay, these are my tips, PR tips for tech. Thank you, Just Lexler. I'm doing my best to pronounce your username. Thank you so much for the question. Anybody else have a question, let me know. I really enjoyed recording this episode. This coffee is hitting me and I am feeling so nice. All right, this is episode 334 of The Edward Show. This is my daily growth hacking, growth marketing, digital marketing podcast. I do this thing 7 days a week. Really enjoying this one. Here, let me try to move my laptop around so you can see where I am. I'd like to actually show this because it's small, like, oh, it's definitely going to fall if I do this. But okay, so there's like trees behind me. There's a playground over here and people playing on it. And then there's these block buildings and my mic is going to fall. But okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.